Does this make Eddie George a commodity that Tennessee State cannot afford to lose? That maybe kowtow to like some improvements to their football program, athletic department as a whole to keep him around, knowing the fact that NFL, at least one NFL team is snooping around, see about his availability. Starting with Chris.
Well, Mikki Allen, is it Mikki or Mikey? Because I don't want to mess this
Mikki.
up. It's Mikki. Okay. All right. Well, Mikki Allen seems determined to have Tennessee State as a world-class athletics program anyway. So whether Eddie George is there or not, that was probably going to happen. But it does call into question if he does have a plan B, because on an off chance that Eddie George absolutely wowed the Chicago Bears brass and he jumps the line and gets that job, then he has to find a coach that is going to come in, keep the guys that are there, hit whoever's left in the portal, or who has an unsigned freshman or JUCO, and keep this Tennessee State program rolling, because right now they're trending on an upward slope in the right direction. So I mean, if Eddie George does go to Mikki Allen and say, all right, we need this, we need that, and I'm sure Mikki would probably move heaven and earth to make it happen. I think what probably would benefit Tennessee State the most is that somehow or another they are able to have an on-campus stadium, because they've done a lot of, band-aiding as far as Hale Stadium goes. But Hale Stadium just, I don't know if it's beyond repair or they just have not had the funds to really just, sink in and do all the things that you need to do to bring a 50, 75-year-old stadium up to code. But that's the place that they probably need to start, is, with an on-campus stadium. And anything else, in the vein of like practice facilities, weight rooms, and all of that soon needs to follow. So even if Eddie George goes to Chicago, whoever the next coach is going to be, they're going to want to see those improvements as well. And it feels like A.D. Allen is definitely trying to do that for Tennessee State. So I think that's what's going to happen regardless.
Your thoughts on this, Ken?
I will say this, and I don't want to pretend to give anyone the impression that I think I know all there is to know about the in and outs of Tennessee State's athletic program or the history of it. Well, let me start with the mindset of Mikki Allen and the department. I was fortunate enough to interview Mikki Allen when he first became the athletic director at Tennessee State. And based upon my conversation with him then, based upon what we've seen up to this point, Tennessee State has a mindset, and I think it's safe to say that they are just, I was about to say they brag different, but no, they don't. They do navigate differently though, and they've made moves that are, it's just them. Hockey program being steadfast and stating that they have no desire to become a member of an HBCU conference, and that they are committed to staying not necessarily in the OVC, but they are committed to, as it relates to football, committed to playing for FCS championships and competing in the NCAA tournament year in and year out. So I think that in and of itself determines what the direction or the path or the course that Mikki Allen has Tennessee State going. Now, with respect to the infrastructure, Tennessee State, I think it's safe to say, is probably, and someone feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, I think Tennessee State may be the only HBCU with an indoor practice facility. I've been on the campus once. And that was one of the things that stuck out to me. I don't know if they're still using that. Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, the only HBCU with an indoor practice facility. So they've got the bones in place as it relates to Hale Stadium. Yeah, it may be an old structure, but you know what? There are a lot of institutions out there with old structures that were built, in the 20s and in the 30s and so forth, and they've been able to, make renovation on top of renovation and that type of. So I don't necessarily think Hale Stadium is any different, but when you put in consideration what Tennessee State has had to endure, being a state-supported institution within the state, and given what we know, how that institution has been pretty much robbed of the dollars that it was, deserving, or dollars that were earmarked for that institution from the federal government, It is possible. Let's just simply say that. And who knows where Tennessee State would be at this moment had the dollars that were earmarked for them had gone to that institution to be utilized in a way that was fit. So I say all this to say, I say all that to say this. Mikki Allen is more than he's more than an AD who is fit for the job, and I think in the event that Eddie George decides he wants to move on, and let's just say he was offered that job, I don't think Mikki Allen would have a problem getting someone else or getting a plethora of candidates to come in and lead that program. And at the same time continue to move the program in the in the right direction. I don't think he'll have a problem doing that. And if he does have a plan B, it wouldn't, or should I say this? It wouldn't be surprising to me if he does have a plan B.
Yeah, while you were talking, Ken, I was thinking about a report that came out maybe a month or two ago that stated Eddie George was thought to be a candidate for the Kennesaw State job, which is an FBS school. And now you combine this with opportunity he had with the Bears. Like, people are sleeping around him. They think he could be like a really good football coach. So you're right, Ken. Maybe he needs to have a plan B. Talking about Mikki Allen, because Eddie George is highly respected in the coaching game, being so young in the coaching game, only coaching 4 years. So, Jared, your thoughts on maybe the pressure that Mikki Allen faces to possibly have to keep Eddie George around?
Jared?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I lagged for a second while you were asking the question. Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, just your thoughts on about whether or not Mikki Allen has any pressure or should be preparing himself to do whatever he can to keep Eddie George around, considering NFL team looking at him in a FBS school was reportedly looking at him too for a job.
Yes, because if it's not the Bears, it's going to be somebody. Everybody, there's going to be people that's going to want him, and there's going to be people that's going to be willing to throw money at him. So he absolutely should be have a plan B, as Ken said, for if he has an offer that he, pardon the pun, that he can't refuse. You know, Eddie George is not just some coach. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's a former Pro Bowler at the NFL level. If I'm not mistaken, he's the leader, the all-time leader in rushing for the Tennessee Titans. That's who he is. He's a guy who is a great football mind. He knows what it takes to have an offensive presence. You know, so if it's not a head coach at the FBS level or at the NFL level, he'll for sure be an offensive coordinator somewhere. He'll for sure be a running backs coach somewhere. So absolutely there should be a contingency plan should Eddie George decide to go elsewhere. Even though we all know he said he wasn't even thinking about coaching, and Tennessee State was kind of like a Hail Mary for him. He's caught the eyes of people elsewhere. So it's only a matter of time before he gets that offer. The question is, will he be willing to take it? Because he said that he wasn't willing, he wasn't even thinking about coaching, but he's here now. So absolutely. I mean, you should have a contingencies plan when you have success in general. For any school that has success in general, you should have a contingency plan. Just like coaches who have assistants who, you know, succeed ahead of every other unit. For example, Damon Wilson should have a contingency plan should someone call Anton Sewell. I'm pretty sure Eddie Robinson Jr. had a contingency plan for if people came calling Ryan Lewis. It happens. So you should have contingency plans in general if should your team have some success.
Yeah, like any AD will tell you, like they always have like a list of folks that they can call upon at a moment's notice to reach out to, engage their interest in a job that ever becomes open, and no matter what sport it is. So yeah, I believe Mikki Allen probably does have the list, or he should have it right now.